If you are pregnant or you've recently had a baby, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Kath Bequee. I'm a physiotherapist working in women's health and mum of 3. Inside my online program, FitNest Mama, I help women feel confident and strong inside out as they navigate pregnancy, birth, and postnatal recovery. Each week, I bring you 2 episodes to support you on your motherhood journey, whether it's real and raw birth stories from fellow mums, expert interviews with trusted health professionals, or bite-sized Q&As where I answer your most common questions. It is possible to feel amazing in your body during this stage of life, and I want that for you. Come and say hi on Instagram at kathbequee.physio, and let's dive into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to the Pregnancy, Birth and Recovery podcast. Today I chat with the beautiful Emma, who shares her birth story. Emma, it was so lovely to chat to Emma. She's a third-time mum, so she's got 3 lovely girls. Her youngest is just 4 months old, and she's got some amazing postnatal recovery goals. So she has always loved running and has completed a few marathons in the past, and she has set her sights on the Berlin Marathon next year. So she's a client. She came and saw me for a pelvic floor assessment 6 weeks, it was about 6 to 8 weeks postpartum. And she's also a member inside FitNest Mama doing our return to running program. And I thought it would be amazing to chat about her birth experiences and her postnatal recovery journey as a seasoned mum. Today, Emma shares her induction. She had 3 inductions. She shares how she used the TENS machine. She shares her story with the epidural, how birth differed compared to her first and second. And then she really talks through her breastfeeding journey, 3rd time round, and a little bit of a hint, it wasn't as smooth sailing as the other 2, but she shares how she got back on track with that. And then, as I mentioned, she shares her postnatal return to running story. Fantastic episode. Whether or not you're first time mum or your third time mum, I really think you'll appreciate this story. And I did ask Emma at the very end, I said, if you were speaking to yourself again as a first, looking back and having a chat to yourself when you're pregnant with your first, what would you tell yourself? And it was, she would have told herself exactly what I would have told myself. So stick around to the end to hear her advice to her younger self. Before we dive into it, Emma does discuss the FitNest Mama Return to Running program. If you're curious to find out more, come and check it out. It's a 7-day free trial. You can either join us as a membership or you can just purchase it outright. But either way, come and check it out, fitnestmama.com. Without further ado, let's dive straight into this episode. Emma, thank you so much for joining me on the Pregnancy, Birth and Recovery podcast. I really appreciate you taking a time out of your busy day to chat.
Hi, Kath. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really looking forward to our discussion about my little bubbies.
Yes, 3 little bubbies.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a busy 4 to 5 years, that's for sure.
And how old's Sylvie now?
So Sylvie is 4 months or maybe 4.5 months at the moment.
And you were just telling me off air, you've just come off your first work meeting.
Yeah, so may seem a little bit early on, 4 months in, but there was a lot to catch up on. So went into the office, I'm in marketing, went into the office and just had a meeting for a couple of hours and tried to hightail back here to chat with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. What a busy day.
No, it's been good. It's been good.
Okay, so Emma, you've kindly volunteered. You're a beautiful member inside FitNest Mama, and you've also come and seen me at the clinic, which is amazing, and you volunteered to come and share your birth story, which is exciting. What I love about your story is, and I'm probably jumping right to the end here, but you came to see me postpartum because you've got an amazing goal that you want to achieve. Would you like to share your goal?
Yeah, sure. So by no means am I a runner as such, but I do love running. And my goal is to run the Berlin Marathon next year. That's kind of the long-term goal. Short-term goal, I would love to be running the half marathon in the Melbourne Marathon coming up in October. And I did actually sign up to that. I reckon I was maybe 20 weeks pregnant, and I thought it would be a good idea to sign up to a half marathon, knowing that I'd be 6 months postpartum at the time.
Yeah.
So a little bit ambitious, but I like it.
And what stage did you come and see me in the clinic?
I was pretty eager. I came in, I think it was 4 weeks when I first saw you. And then I came back at around about the 9-week point where we could do the full check.
Yeah. 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 So for anyone listening, we don't tend to do internal pelvic floor assessments until that doctor's check, which is usually about that 6-week mark. But, anything, whenever anyone can come up for a breath of fresh air, really, postpartum, for a full internal assessment, if that's something that you want and is indicated, not for everyone. But, so you came and saw me and you're like, I want to get running and do the marathon. I was like, amazing goals. You've had 3 babies. And let's chat more about that. But first, talk us through, give us a little rundown about the type of birth. And let's just focus on Sylvie, because she's your most current. And I guess, well, were they completely different births that you had?
No, I had all 3 births were basically identical.
Okay.
Which was bizarre to me because after the first, I was like, surely the second one's easier. And then by the third, I'm like, surely the third time round is just easier. But that didn't quite happen. And I guess, for all of them, I was induced for various reasons. Like my first birth, the movement had slowed down. So I was induced at 39 plus 6. And then second birth, I thought, I'll wait until 40 weeks. If she hasn't come by 40 weeks, I think I'm done. So I was induced then. And then with Sylvie, I was just, all I really wanted was to come spontaneously. I thought, last baby, I just really want to know what this feels like. I waited 40 plus 6. It was the peak of summer pretty much. By that point I'd had enough. And I was also, in discussions with my obstetrician around what the best thing to do would be. And we decided at that point I would be induced as well.
And did you mention you were 41 plus 6?
No, 40 plus 6.
40 plus 6,
yeah,
okay.
Was where I got to.
And what were those discussions with the obstetrician? What was she saying?
Sorry. Dr. Farris, he was really good. He was, I've seen him for all 3 of my births. And what I love about him is that he looks after obviously the baby, but looks after me, and at the same time really listens to what you would like, what your desires are. And he knew that spontaneous labour was mine initially. And he said, look, I'm comfortable to wait. You're healthy. You're not 40 yet. There were all these kind of things that I ticked off, but I probably wasn't too far away from everything that he said as well. And I was getting quite uncomfortable. So I was happy to keep going as long as I felt movement. And there was at one point where, I don't know, I think she was probably just getting bigger, and everything kind of slowed down a bit. And I just thought, I think I'm ready to meet the bub now. And he made that happen.
Amazing. Can you talk us through induction? Like what happened?
Yeah, so I went in the night before and got the gel put in, and it was around, I don't know, it was late afternoon, got the gel put in, we were hanging around, and it was Carlton Collingwood that night, and my husband goes for Collingwood, and I am obsessed with Carlton. Usually we'd be at the MCG, but obviously we couldn't be on this occasion. So I was like, do I need to hang around here? And he's like, no, go and do your thing. So we went out for dinner locally, just in case anything did happen, and watched the footy together, and then came back in to the hospital. I said to him, what are the chances of going into labour overnight? I might get these stats wrong, but I think he said, look, normally I would give 5% chance of going into labour, but given it's your third baby and, you know, you're already slightly dilated, I'd say maybe 20%. So my husband decided to stay overnight. Throughout the night, I definitely had pains, like a little bit stronger than period pain. I had Panadol and I had a sleeping tablet and I still couldn't sleep. I mean, obviously with the excitement as well, I probably got, 4 or 5 hours sleep, woke up at 6 a.m. and was just ready to get the show on the road, and was hoping that something actually had happened in that time. My obstetrician came in probably around 7 a.m. And did a check. And at that time, my uterus had opened slightly. Prior to that, it was just completely closed. We tried to do stretch and sweeps in the previous 1 or 2 weeks before that 40+6 mark, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
So it was, a little bit more open, and he was able to break my waters.
Can I ask, Emma, how are you feeling? This is your third baby, third induction. How are you feeling, like, within yourself emotionally? Were you nervous, scared, excited?
I was excited. I think I'd got to the point where, I obviously wasn't going into labour initially spontaneously. I was excited and I was hopeful, because at that point I said what I kind of had done previously was to go on the oxytocin, to be hooked up to the machine. And I really wanted to try and avoid that if I could. So I was still hopeful. And I said, can I just have, I'm feeling pains. Can I have a period of time where I can just try and go into active labour myself? And he agreed to that. So I think overall I had kind of 5 hours to move into that state. And during that 5 hours, again, I had some contractions. I was using my TENS machine. I didn't have anything, though, that was pushing me over the edge. And he then came back in at around about midday and did the check, and I was maybe 0.5 of a centimetre more dilated. And that was deflating. So we agreed at that point that I would receive more hormone and be hooked up to the machine. And things started kind of getting going from there.
Okay. And that was about lunchtime?
About lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah. Where were your kids, by the way? How were you?
I guess that's the good thing about the induction, is that you can actually work around with your kids, and and also we've got a big dog as well that obviously can't be left at home. So it felt like I was leaving 3 kids at home. And my in-laws came down from the country to stay at our place, which was super helpful.
What happens if you'd gone into labour spontaneously if they're living in the country?
It's such a good question, because my husband also works night shift. So there were many, many nights leading up to, this is probably another reason why I was actually keen to book it in eventually, leading up to the point where I gave birth and he would be on night shift and I'm at home with a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and our demanding dog, thinking, what am I going to do here? But there's a lot of lovely neighbours and mum friends around here that offered to help, which is excellent. And my parents live right near the hospital. So I think where we got to was I would pile everybody into the car, drop them off at my parents, and someone would drop me at the hospital after that.
And just hope that you weren't in too much labour that you could drive
Exactly.
safely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The reason I ask is a kid's a relevant question, isn't it? I've got 3. I remember that going through my mind all the time. It's what happens if my husband's away? What happens if I can't drive my kids? You just want contingency plans, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I remember I was looking up emergency night nannies, And I don't know whether, you know much about that, but I found overseas in the US, they have these emergency night nannies. So you kind of book them in at 36 weeks and you meet them and they meet your kids. And I guess you're paying them a fee in case you go into labour and you need them to come over in the middle of the night. I thought that was a pretty cool concept, but I couldn't really find, I contacted a couple of nanny agencies and I couldn't really find anything like that locally.
Yep. Okay, well, luckily you're in hospital. You're getting induced, lunchtime comes around, doctor's like, let's speed things up. What starts to happen?
Yeah, so I'm just using the TENS machine at this point in time, get hooked up, and things start to progress a little bit. I was there for probably 3 hours, walking where I could, on the ball, and just trying to work through the pain. I had another check after 3 hours and I was 3 centimeters dilated. And at this point, I was like breathing heavily through the contractions. I was in a lot of pain. I swear I was about to give birth within the next hour. And the obstetrician said to me this time, it could be 8 hours. Another 8 hours. I was like, what? How is that even possible for a third baby? Apparently the third babies are the difficult ones. So at that point, we agreed that I would have an epidural. I was happy to have an epidural so that they could turn up the machine because it was already up quite high. And then I just thought, if they're needing to push it up even further to get my contractions going, I didn't really think I'd be able to do that just with the TENS machine. I tried gas and morphine in previous births and they didn't really work for me.
Okay. So what stage did you get the epidural?
So got the epidural probably around 4 or 5 p.m.
How was that?
And it actually, I didn't love it, to be honest. It hurt more for some reason. I don't remember. I have had one before and I don't remember it hurting like it did. And the other thing was I really didn't want to. So, I mean, not everything goes to plan, but that was another thing is, the ideal was going to spontaneous labour and then be able to progress as far as you can along naturally without the epidural. So I guess I felt just a little bit defeated at that point in time, but I also understood that, the baby has to come out at some point and things weren't really progressing without the hormone and then, needed some help along the way as well.
And did you mention you'd had the epidural for your other 2 babies?
Yeah, I had, yeah. When I had the epidural this time, I could not feel one side and I could feel everything on the other side. And so I say everything. Maybe they would say that there was what do they call it? A hole where you're not, where you're feeling the pain still. But yeah, I feel like from my perspective, the epidural was completely numb on one side, and then not the other side. So I found that really difficult because I couldn't get up and walk around and breathe through the contractions because I was stuck on the bed. But these contractions were absolutely killing me on one side and there was very little I could do. Like they said I was pressing on the top up, was doing that so that one side was so numb, so blocked. But yeah, nothing would get to the other side at all.
Bummer.
Yep.
So how did you manage it?
Just breathing through it. A lot of screaming, and I think it got to a point where the pain, I couldn't handle the pain for much longer, and the obstetrician, the midwives had been out another birth, and they came in, and the midwife was like, "I just saw your face, and I knew it was time. You were definitely dilated." So that was at around about 9 p.m. Or maybe even 9:15, that they did the check and I was eventually fully dilated.
Did you know one of the best ways to support your postpartum recovery is through exercising carefully during pregnancy and preparing your body for birth? And this is something we cover inside FitNest Mama. This is what FitNest is all about with its physio-created workouts. We help you support your changing body during pregnancy, whether or not that's with pelvic girdle pain-friendly workouts, whether or not that's with strength training for pregnancy or pregnancy yoga. We help you to prepare your body for birth and reduce your risk of 3rd and 4th degree perineal tears and episiotomy. And we help to boost your postpartum recovery, whether or not you've had a vaginal or a cesarean birth. If this is something you want to do, then come and check out our free 7-day trial. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. And at the end of the day, it's all about helping us have a better motherhood experience to help us feel stronger inside out in every aspect of our life: physical, mental health, confidence. Anyway, I could keep on going, but come and check out the link in the show notes and join our free 7-day trial. See you soon. And so was that when you were feeling it was too much, that was when you were going through transition?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I haven't had that with the others. The first epidural I had was quite light and I enjoyed that, and I had hip pain and other things. The second one, I didn't feel any of that. And then this time, I definitely felt going through a transition and knew that it was almost ready to push.
Did you know you were going through transition at the time?
The second one, I didn't have pain, but I could feel the heaviness down there. Mm-hmm. And then this time, I actually don't think I did, because I had so much pain with the contractions. I was kind of focusing on that. So I thought that they were just progressing, and I was just worried, like, what am I going to do here? Because I can't move and this is getting out of control. But it turns out that was the case.
Okay. So the nurse comes in, the midwife comes in, she's like, looks like it's go time.
Yep.
How'd that feel?
Great, because it hadn't been the 8 hours. So what was that, maybe 4 hours that I had, progressed to being fully dilated. So my obstetrician came in and did the check, and he said, yep, it's time. I always get this, with the 3, I get this, actually with the last 2, this like a tremble just before it's time to push. And I think it's just a combination of emotions. And I guess because you know what that final part is like, and you're just so excited. I get scared. There's so many emotions and the adrenaline that's kind of running through your body that I'm sitting there trembling until it's actually time to start pushing. You know how it takes a few minutes for them to get everything organised before you begin. So that was just amazing. And then the actual pushing Sylvie out, that was quick. So that was the 3rd time round. I guess I knew how to do it a little bit more than first time round. I think she was born within kind of 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, okay. So talk us through that, Emma. What was different? How did you know what to do with the pushing? Can you try to describe that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess it helped because I could feel part of me. I think it's more challenging when you can't at all. But my obstetrician was kind of saying, push through your bum. So push, everyone's obviously had to do a poo while they're giving birth, which still don't know the answer to, but I'm going with no, I didn't. Just push through your bum and like these deep breaths. And I definitely think, I remember a friend of mine said, if you do heaps of swimming, you'll get yourself fit for birth. And I do think that's true to a certain extent. You need to be somewhat fit to be able to push and breathe in and breathe out as you need to get the baby out as soon as you can.
Yeah, 100%. We've got the evidence to back that up too.
All right.
I love it. pregnancy fitness is probably the best thing you can do to help with your postnatal recovery outcomes and the birth
Yeah,
process. But it's often the
definitely.
hardest thing to do, isn't
It's
it?
the
If
hardest thing to do.
you're tired, you're achy, you're
Yeah.
sore. Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
And yeah, again, with the first, I was, right into it during pregnancy.
Yeah,
Stay fit, but then as soon as you're working, you've got one or two extra kids, it is the hardest thing, as well as how you feel. So
absolutely.
I guess even at that point, I was pretty heavy and pretty slow, probably even doing walks to the daycare to pick up my other kids would have helped as well.
Yeah. Okay, so you're pushing out your bum, as you mentioned, pushing through your bum.
Yeah.
Any other tips or any other things that really helped?
Oh God. No, I think just setting your vision on. I think your mind is so important as part of it. And I think for me, it helped me just think about what I was getting at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was a short, like in the whole labour, that is really short. And, within 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 minutes, whatever it is, you're going to be sitting there with this amazing, beautiful bub that you've carried for 9 months. Like, it is just the most remarkable, special thing. And I would have 10 to go back and feel that feeling of when you've just birthed your baby and you're holding and feeding. It is just the most special thing ever.
Oh, I know. It makes me clucky just thinking about it. It's like, can I have another one?
Yeah.
Emma, did you say it was 5 minutes of pushing? Is that all you did?
Yeah.
Really?
Third time round. Yeah.
Wow. Was that one or two? How many sets of
It was
contractions?
a few. I don't know. Yeah, it was a few sets of contractions, but it wasn't many at all. And that part of birth progressively got shorter quite significantly from the first to the third.
Yeah. Amazing. Did you know you're having a little girl?
No. So there was a surprise for all three of our babies. And I felt third time, I really felt that Sylvie was a girl. And I felt different across all of my pregnancies, but there was just something that I thought, like 3 girls, how special. And yeah, I just had this vision of our family with 3 girls, very emotional, loud, hormonal household.
Oh, trust me, I know what you mean. I'm getting the teenagers, approaching those teenage years now. I know exactly what you mean.
Oh,
3 girls.
3 girls.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And noisy.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So your Bubs is born. What happens then?
Bub's born. They took her out. No, start again. Sorry. She was coming out and I assisted pulling her out, which, I loved. And then so pulled her out and I just brought her up to my chest straight away. And they clamped the umbilical cord during that whole process. But it was basically like straight out and straight onto my chest. And she would have stayed there for hours, literally hours. She was born at kind of 9:20, 9:15, and she we didn't move into our room until after midnight. So yeah, it was a long time on my chest, which was beautiful.
And you did the first feed in that time?
Yep, did the first feed. She was a little bit different to others where she didn't kind of crawl up to my chest and hop on. But yeah, I popped her on and yeah, she was pretty good. Had a little feed.
And how was breastfeeding third time round compared to your first?
Oh, it was so hard at the start. Like I still, the first time round, I found it nice. I found it okay. And I didn't feel that pain that so many women speak about. And now that I look back, my first born is quite, she's quite big. And I think she had like a bigger mouth potentially. I'm not sure. But with Sylvie, it was the second and definitely the third was just so painful. I ended up with an infection. after a week, I think in the hospital, I stayed in hospital for 4 nights, and she was just feeding. It felt like nonstop for that whole time, and obviously didn't have a proper latch or anything. I think because my nipples are on the larger side, and her mouth was obviously very small, being a newborn. So I really struggled with that. I came home. I was using nipple shields, but she couldn't latch onto that, and she was barely getting any milk through it. So therefore, I felt like my breasts were about to explode and, potentially getting mastitis as well. At that point, so it would have just been a bit over a week and a half old. I went to the GP, my local GP, and she put me in touch with a GP lactation consultant who was just amazing. So I had this appointment with her, and we went through everything from first of all, a check over Sylvie, and, she was fine, maybe a slight tongue tie, but nothing that should cause that amount of pain on me. And we just went through the feeding positions and ways I can work around it. And also she gave me confidence in terms of the journey. Your breastfeeding journey is going to be okay if I kind of implemented a few different things. And also I had an infection, so therefore I got the gel for the infection. And once that cleared up, the breastfeeding, as she said, has been really positive since then and pain-free.
Can I just say well done for going, getting that support you need. That's sometimes a really tricky thing to do, especially when you've got other kids and you're busy and...
Yeah, thank you. I knew I wanted to breastfeed, and, it's so common, and I think it's hard to find the right support, actually. Because I won't go into the detail, but with the second I also had some pain, and I was calling different hotlines and I was explaining things, but I didn't get that hands-on experience. And I'm just so grateful to my local GP who referred me to this other doctor, and she actually moved a few things around to see me and to help me. So that was I'm really grateful to those women.
And there's quite a few GPs now that are also lactation consultants, and I think it's a really lovely combination.
I agree. Yeah, agree. And everything about it, I mean, first of all, they can do the check on your baby. Yeah. So that's nice. I mean, I wasn't actually worried about anything with Sylvie, but it's also reassuring, if someone's just checking over your baby. And then, just the time they spend with you and the knowledge in that area.
Prescribe any medications that you need, like antibiotics. Yeah,
exactly. It's not multiple appointments, it's just one.
Yeah. Okay, Emma, this is when I ask about your recovery, your postnatal recovery, and I'm really interested to learn. Obviously, I know because you've seen you as a clinic, but for women listening, thinking, okay, you've had 3 babies, you want to do the Berlin Marathon in a very short period of time. Amazing. How was, physically and pelvic floor wise, because you didn't have any instrumental deliveries, did you?
No. I did have, I had episiotomies with the first 2.
Yep.
And I would say that my recovery from those births, I feel, was a lot slower.
Yeah.
And a lot more painful because of it. And you kind of, I maybe didn't give it enough time or warrant the rest that it needed. But it is a big thing. And this time round, I had 1 or 2 stitches.
Yep.
And my recovery, I already just felt so much stronger walking out of that hospital compared to the other 2 times.
Oh, amazing. And did you decide on a goal of a marathon post birth, or was this a long time in the making during pregnancy?
Good question. It was during pregnancy. So I signed up to the half marathon definitely during pregnancy, because obviously the Melbourne Marathon sells out.
Yep.
And the actual marathon, we're talking about going overseas with a bunch of friends next year. And I always love, having a bit of running, a bit of party, a bit of family time. I think that rounds out a holiday really well. And I've done the New York Marathon and the Tokyo Marathon.
Yep.
And when I finished the New York Marathon, I thought, I really wanted to do the 6 majors. And yeah, obviously this is the next one of those.
Amazing. When you saw me, was that your first ever pelvic floor assessment?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess, if part of that thinking was the recovery from the other 2, I guess first time round, it was okay. Like I did some Googling and I started running off that, and it was incremental walking, running, and build up my body. And then I did some Pilates and that was okay. Second time round, I just went too early. I was just so keen to get back and get fit again that I started just smashing the Pilates and then running, and my hips did not recover for a good probably 10 months. And I saw physios and all sorts of different things. And this time around, I was like, you know what? I've had 3 babies. I want to be able to run without being injured severely along the way. And I also want my body to function as it should in future years as well. So, I thought, I'll do it properly. I'll come and see you and have an assessment and see what's happening there and how I can try and approach running and getting fit again.
And be honest, how did you find that first internal assessment? Was it what you expected? Different?
It was what I expected. Yeah, I think it's just interesting because most of the time when you're having an internal, I guess, it's your obstetrician or, it might be a GP. And I hadn't really been in an environment where I've seen many physios, so it was kind of like breaking down that for me around, okay, there's a physio, but it's, a women's health assessment and they go together. Obviously, I was very familiar with I knew why I was going in to see you. But yeah, it was different when it was taking place. And then I think that, just the reassurance that you get at that point in time is interesting because I've spoken to a couple of friends who, after their last baby didn't go, but have gone subsequently, when trying to run or do things like that. So, definitely glad I went. Maybe I didn't need to go 4 weeks, but I'm definitely glad that I came to see you and get it all checked.
Yeah. And apart from the reassurance, what did you come away with after the assessment?
The details of it. Well, I guess I knew that I was in what I needed to do to strengthen my pelvic floor. I mean, for me, I guess I was in a fortunate position, but I knew that I had to do some work, worked with you in terms of doing some exercises to strengthen my pelvic floor and then to be able to begin running again.
Yeah. And so for those listening who might be curious, at that 6-week assessment, as a pelvic floor physio, we would assess structurally, we'd assess for any signs of prolapse, we'd assess to see if there's been some muscle that's torn away from the bone, like a Levada. I won't go into detail, but we assess structurally to make sure everything is okay. We assess, obviously, the muscle strength, and then we can do an abdominal assessment too, check the DRAM, a whole body assessment, and then give a plan of action and discuss a postnatal rehab plan that might include anything from pelvic floor exercises, or if there's prolapse, it might be pessary management, whole body strengthening, abs, the works. So it's quite an involved assessment. So yeah, interesting to know. So Emma, how is your running progress going? Because I haven't seen you for a little while.
It's good. So I guess for everyone else, I started following the FitNest Mama return to running postpartum plan with a little bit of a change after we spoke about things. And now I'm at the point where I'm running kind of 7Ks, 8Ks without stopping much. So, I still... It's actually my fitness now, not my body. So my body feels really strong. It's just I haven't exercised like that in a very long time. So I'm stopping to get my breath and things. But my body feels really good actually.
Oh, amazing. And do you feel like the progressions has been on par with what you needed?
In terms of my goal?
Well, it's progressing because I know, for example, the return to running plan that I suggest it is quite conservative, and I'm very happy to admit that. I am very mindful of when women progress to the next stage in terms of how long they're running for, the distance and that sort of thing. What did you feel that the speed of which you've increased your running distance, like how did you find that?
Yeah, and I mean, when you and I sat down, we kind of went through the goal and realized that because it is more conservative on the app, that I wouldn't reach the goal probably if I was to follow it week by week. So, look, I did take liberty to run a little bit more, but I used what was in there, the structure of what was in there.
Yeah,
so if it was
amazing.
kind of, I would jump up to do another minute running and maybe cut down the rest by half a minute, something like that. And then
Yep.
I think you just know when your body's ready to go.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was like, nah, I don't need to be having these breaks anymore.
Fantastic. So Emma, you have had 3 beautiful babies. You have some amazing postpartum recovery goals. I am super impressed with how you've been proactive in supporting your postnatal recovery, and you've done the assessment, you're doing the work, you're doing the exercises, you're doing the plan. How hopeful? Actually, no, I don't even want to ask that question. I'm excited for you with your goals, and I can't wait to hear how they go. How are you feeling about them?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I think that the biggest challenge is sometimes other things.
Yeah.
Like, it's I'm really proud of my body for what it's been through 3 times around, and where it's come out to now. I'm so happy for that. It does feel strong and getting stronger day by day. I think it's just other challenges though. It's like finding the time to actually be able to run before the baby can go into a running pram. And, just silly things like, or little things like running shoes and orthotics and those type of things to make sure your body's feeling the way it should all over.
Yeah. You're right. It's always the other things that are the difficult things, the things you can't plan for.
Yeah.
So
right.
To wrap it up, Emma, for anyone listening today who's perhaps pregnant, they're perhaps thinking, oh my gosh, I might need to have an induction, or perhaps they're a runner and they're really wanting to get back into it all postpartum. Like, what final words do you have?
I think it maybe trust the process is a big one. Like I often would try and maybe control things a little bit, but things eventually will work out, and they usually work out well. So trusting the process. And then the other one is, I guess, just go for it. Like, usually if you're putting your mind to things and you have some time, then you'll be able to do what you want to do. Just because you've had a baby or you're pregnant or you've got a short period postpartum doesn't mean that you can't. And I think finally is, don't try and do it alone. Like, I tried to do that with my second baby and I didn't really pan out so well. So this time, whether it was kind of the GP lactation consultant just got things on improving straight away, if it was my postpartum body pelvic floor recovery, it was seeing you, just so I didn't have to wait those weeks or even waste weeks progressing down a route that wasn't the best one for me.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for sharing your story,
and have
Emma.
all the babies.
Pardon?
Have all the babies.
Have all the babies. Yeah. That's what I could call the podcast episode. Have all the babies, everyone.
I'll do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it is also really nice speaking to, because I do speak to a lot of first-time mums, and I think it's really nice to be able to speak to mums who've, gone through it a few times, because it does change perspective on it all. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, our life hasn't ever been as busy, but it's also never been as easy in a way.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I just think that definitely for me, I mean, third time round, Sylvie is in absolutely no schedule, no routine, and just goes with us everywhere. And, you know, she's obviously changed, she's fed, and she sleeps, and she's the happiest baby that we've had. And I think that that's kind of my mental state as well is there. It has to be with a bigger family. And that's shifted for me from the first baby to the third baby.
What would you tell yourself if you could speak to yourself if you were pregnant with your first baby? What would you say to yourself?
Just go with it. Like the first, with my first baby, I would have, you know, I set up in the nursery. I bought every single baby piece of clothing and equipment that was on the market because I thought that would create a good baby. I'd get a lot of sleep. And I was, you know, very much obsessed with holding on to my old lifestyle of, you know, still going out, still getting sleep and whatnot. And now, yeah, third baby is like, well, that's just the reality, isn't it? It's the reality that young babies don't sleep and eventually they will sleep. And as long as everyone's okay with that, then things will work out. So, yeah, kind of similar to what I said before. I think if I was pregnant first time round is just, you know, babies are the most special thing in the world. And if they're cared for and they're loved and, you know, they're fed and they get some sleep, it will be okay. It's only for a short period of time, you know, where you might feel the sleep regression or, you know, some challenges in there that only last for a really short period of time.
It's so funny because I'd tell myself exactly the same thing. I was really worried about the whole sleep and side of things, and I don't know why I was so worried about it, but I was really focused on it. And then with my third bubs, I had to wake them up in order to go pick my daughter up from kinder and school, and like every sleep I felt like I was having to wake up my third. And you're right, they were probably the happiest, most chilled out baby, and I didn't stress about having to wake them up mid-sleep to go and pick up a daughter because the bell was about to go. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And then I also think, though, if you didn't have the other children, would you change your first time round? Potentially you wouldn't.
No, well, why would you? You don't need to wake your kid up, so you let them sleep.
Yeah. So
it all happens for a reason.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but no, they are just like the most remarkable little things. And I think this time around as well, I'm just really soaking that up. And, you know, I feel very lucky to be in the position that I am with, you know, my three beautiful girls and husband. And just want to live the moment for as long as I can.
Yep, soak it up. Thank you so much for the chat, Emma. You're amazing. Can't wait to hear about all your amazing traveling the world, doing your marathons.
I hope so. It's a good plan anyway. Thank you, Kath. It was so nice to speak to you, and thanks for all your support as well.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll chat to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pregnancy, Birth and Recovery podcast brought to you by FitNest Mama, your app for home-based, physio-led pregnancy and postnatal workouts. If you found this episode helpful, please tap follow, leave a quick review and share it to your stories. Tag at kathbequee.physio. I'd love to connect and cheer you on. And don't forget to check out the free trial at fitnessmama.com/free to start feeling confident, strong and supported today. Until next time, remember, a strong body, a confident birth and empowered recovery is something you deserve. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. Please consult your healthcare provider for your personalised guidance.